Hey guys, Hazards 280 here. Just a quick review on this 2019 Ram 1500 Bighorn Sport. Now this is our personal vehicle. We did just replace our 2014 Buick Regal GS with this particular Ram, and this was primarily associated with the fact that our 4Runner couldn't quite, it towed our travel trailer fine, but it was really at its limits, and she's always wanted to pick up, so this is, like I just said, this is her car, and so we got rid of the Regal and purchased this. As you'll see, they did just make a dramatic change to what the old Rams used to look like, as 2019 was a complete refresh for the Ram 1500 brand. Now, just doing a quick walk around, you can see some of the body lines on the pickup here. This particular Bighorn does have the optional 20-inch wheels as well as LED lighting package. So as you visit your dealer, you might want to look for those if you really like how this truck looks. You hear a subtle sound from the exhaust there. The wheels are optional 20-inch wheels. The standard Bighorn will come with an 18-inch wheel. Now these headlights are on, and you'll see that they offer Ram's LED headlamp. The standard ones are halogen, but we found the LEDs to really provide nice light coverage. Have been kind of hard for the manufacturers to really master, since the spread out into the road, as well as the blinding into opposing drivers, has always been kind of hard to master. So we like the simplicity of the LEDs, since the HIDs really need to be replaced after so many years, they start to go bad. So we really like that. And so you'll see this is just your standard front end here with the LEDs on. They get a nice color to them. The camera is not really picturing it here. There's a subtle blue to it. Again, like I said, the camera's not quite picturing that. So this is your headlights. Now, if we look at just the DRLs, they turn off, and you'll see that there is a nice ring around the outside. But this isn't your traditional ring that you see in most cars. It's kind of a subtle, it's a nice glow, and I really like how that looks. I think it turned out well for the Ram brand. And I think it also maintains the truck's nice masculine look when you're going on the road. I think it looks nice. There is obviously a dramatic change with the crosshairs being gone, but you still have that forward rake in the grille, as historically Ram has always had. You do have LEDs here at the bottom, front park sensors as well as rear park sensors that you can control individually. So if you want to turn off the front and keep the rear, you can do that if you so please. You can see the new 1500 badged. I do believe the 5.7 will be your volume engine with 395 horsepower. If you choose to go with the 3.6, you'll be looking at 305 horsepower. With the sound of the 5.7 and the availability, I do believe that will be your typical one that you'll see when you visit your local dealer. Looking at the rotors on this truck, these are the largest rotors now on a pickup. And I will say that when we were stopping on the expressway with our camper, or not on the expressway, but on off ramps, things like that, it felt great, worked out well, and just no issues. Keep in mind we did have some trailer brakes that we were using as well, and the trailer brake controller inside the truck worked well too. So now looking at the turn signals, you'll see that there are some on the door and there are some here in the front. So we'll go ahead and turn on the turn signals. Looking at the right, now this is blowing out quite a bit here. You can see it in the mirror. The camera is not quite picking it up, but it's using that same glow that you have with your DRL. Now looking at the left turn signal, you can see it's just the same. And kicking on the hazards, you'll see you've got a nice look as well. So now when we get to the back, we will take a look at the brake lamps and see how that's set up. All right, now, so this is with your headlamps on. You have a nice outer ring here on the outside, and if you hit the brake, get a nice glow underneath, get a nice light up top, and then you turn on the left turn signal. Nice look. You can see if you were coming up in traffic on the left side, you would see that icon on the mirror. So nice getting caught there. And obviously the right side has the same. And if it was in reverse, you would see that there is an LED light as well. And that looks exceptionally nice as well. I like that LED stayed on with the entire truck. Okay. All right, and then you can see here, you do have LED tail lamps as well, or LED license plate lights, nice subtle touch. You do have this new Ram badge. It's very dimensional, looks very nice in my opinion. It's a nice refresh from what we used to have in the previous gen. 4x4 badge. You do have a new Bighorn edition. Here's your backup camera, and as we'll see when we get to the inside, it is a full 1080p camera. Looks exceptionally well, looks just exceptional, it's awesome. You can see it is a fully dampened tailgate. This particular one is not Line-X at the moment, but we do plan on doing that. And then also the assist on this is just great. It's just really light. You can see I'm just using a few fingers here and it closes. Now in the upper trim levels, you do actually have a button to release your tailgate, and I think that's getting a little bit too much, but you know, so be it. If that's what you want, great. You do have your standard 4-pin, 7-pin connectors, your hitch, and then looking underneath, exhaust, you can see the cutouts, and you do have your backup sensors nicely tucked into the black trim. Taking a look at the roof here, you can see there is the full panoramic sunroof in this truck, which we found to be quite a surprise with the Bighorn edition having that, since it is kind of a mid-tier truck, and typically in other brands that was reserved to their top tier. So overall, I think on the exterior, Ram really hit it out of the park with the styling here. It's got a nice sporty characteristic. It's nice and classy steel with these wheels. Some light badging on the hood there with the brand, or with the trim, or the truck, the 1500, and with the brand on the side with Ram. So it's not going to blind you going down the road as some of the Laramies did in the past, but it also doesn't look like a work truck by any means. So I think FCA really hit out of the park here, and that's really why we went with the truck. The Toyotas just didn't have a good radio in them, regardless of the brand that you had or the trim. If you looked at a 1794 Platinum, it had a JBL system, but it just wasn't that great. The Alpine system in this sounds really, really, really nice. And we found that the Fords, a lot of them had the EcoBoost, and that wasn't just for us. We didn't like the exhaust note, and we're just not a big fan of the EcoBoost. I know, pardon those of you that I just about hurt, and the comments are going to go crazy about that, but that's just how I feel. And the GM trucks, we didn't have anything against them necessarily. We just wanted a crew cab, and we found that the prices of those for us to have a crew cab and have a center console were in the upper 50s, and it was just more than we wanted to spend on a pickup. And with the incentives we were able to get on this, with our supplier discount through work and things like that, we've got an exceptional rate on the truck and a great price in our opinion. All right guys, now looking at the interior of the Ram, see the door panels here, have a nice look to them. Nice soft touch here, Matthew, soft touch materials right here. Sorry guys, inside joke. And the door, you actually have the same fabric that you see in the seats here. So we'll go into that in more detail. We really like these seats. And you have a nice foam insert here in the door. This is just, it works out well. You don't have the sounds when the bottles are in here, but it also forms to whatever bottle size you want. You have your very standard FCA switches here. These have been around forever. I wouldn't be opposed if these were updated. There's nothing wrong with them, but our 2011 Grand Cherokee had the same exact button, same exact switchgear. You do have power folding mirrors, so pretty nice thing to see there. Go ahead and open them back up. Looking at the interior, you can see you have automatic headlamps, fog lamps, bed light, instrument lighting, power adjustable pedals, and electronic parking brake. Now this actually saved 20 pounds just going from your standard mechanical parking brake to electronic. So quite the change. You do have power seats. These are your standard cloth. Now this is particular to the Sport package, I believe. So it's got a nice look to it. You can see it's got almost like a denim look. It's hard to really explain. I think you'll see when you get to the dealer. They are very comfortable and they are heated. So we found that heated cloth is really just the way to go. I mean, there are perks to leather, but the heated cloth in the winter, it just feels really good. Now looking at the rear of the Ram 1500 crew cab that you see here, you'll see just an expansive amount of space, a totally flat floor, and this is class leading. It's actually 4 inches greater than any of the 3 competitors that really compete directly with this 1500. And you'll see these seats easily fold up with one hand, and you have this massive expanse of storage space. There are optional Ram bins here. You do have little cues here. I guess they're not optional, they're pretty standard, but you will see them here in the truck. You've got a little ruler here, and these do come out very easily. So if you have ice in there or whatever you're putting in there, ice, water, beer, whatever it may be, obviously you're not driving if you've got beer in there, but if you're camping and that's what you want in there, great. Nice storage bin, and I think it actually went up in storage space about 40%. You do have some grocery bag hooks here in the back, and a fold down center armrest that does stop. It does not rest on the bottom of the seat. Drives me absolutely bonkers. I hate it when they do that, so it's nice that it stops there. And you have your speakers for the Alpine radio. And then looking at the roof here, this is really the fun, is that you have this massive sunroof here, right here in this Bighorn. So again, a lot of these are options. So we'll look at the window sheet, and I'll show that here for you. You can take a look at it and just really run through that, and you'll see what the truck had as options. But overall, I just want to show you what you can get in these Bighorns. I think they did a great job. Looking at the rear center console, you do have a simulated wood, but it doesn't have any grain to it, and it's a nice, typical, nice look. It's not cheesy, I guess, which is nice to say. And moving on to the inside, you can see you do have the Ram badge up here. You have a spot for a pin, 12-volt outlet, little cubby here. You do have the Alpine center speaker. You have this new screen here. This is a beautiful resolution. I'm gonna try to get here to show you how clear this screen is, but it is just phenomenal. I mean, there is not a dot that you can see on that screen. They just did a really good job there. So again, I think that could be 1080p. And I want to show you this backup camera, and you can see that is just exquisite. Looks awesome. You press this little plus sign here, and you can see right to where your ball is at. So great job there, FCA. Looking here at the center console again, you got a mute for your radio, screen off, hazards, your heated seat controls. So you do have controls on the screen if you would so like. Your backup camera, mirror dimmers, all that is here, but you do have redundant controls here as well. You do have dual zone climate control as expected. Works really well, nice solid feel to them. They've got little ridges here for your fingers to really catch. Nice resistance. Definitely can grab with gloves on if you'd so choose. This is your trailer brake controller. You can see on the center screen as I squeeze that, moves as well. And this is where you control your gains. You have your traction control, your tow haul mode, your park senses here. And you can see it has a great tactical feel as well. You do have a CD player. You have your USB-C and standard USB, so you got some future proofing there going on with the USB-C. You do have spots for your phone here to charge, and the way these cutouts are, it actually holds your phone straight up, so works out well. Pretty cavernous storage area. Another location here, and then another storage bin here. And you'll see in the back, you've actually got some cosine, tangent, all these different things here. I guess I didn't say things, formulas, if you need that in your roll. See the Ram here, designed in Auburn Hills, Michigan. And at the bottom, you will see the 5 generations of Ram pickups, if you pardon my cord, here on the bottom on this little divider tab that lifts up. Looking at the right, you do have the Bighorn designated on the dash. You've got a upper glove compartment as well as a lower glove compartment. And up top, you do have LED lamps. You can designate when you want your lights to turn on, either fully on with your doors. You have your auto sunroof here to open. I just open that so you guys can see how much that opens. Opens quite a ways. You do have your tilt. This is your cover for the sunroof, and then this is your power rear window. And you can see that opens up quite a ways. So now looking at the sunroof, you can see it's got a great expanse there. So I'm glad that they didn't, just stop the sunroof kind of like in here. Some manufacturers do that. They really went through the work to make sure that it is opening up just as far as they can. You can see they did add a new center cluster to the Ram here. It's a, I think, 7 or 8 inch TFT screen. You do have little divisions here in the corners of what you want, and you can define that. In this case, we were just towing, so I actually had the top left one, had my trailer brake. Obviously, you have a screen that comes up, but while towing and you hit the brakes, obviously that's not going to show. So it's just nice, and you can totally put whatever you want in those. Speedometer, you got your vehicle info. You can go through anything you want, fuel economy, trip info, trailer towing, audio, message. I mean, there's just a huge amount of things that can be shown on the screen, but the screen's got a great color to it. Gauges look nice. I do like that the Ram is outlined as well. Just overall, they did a great job with this cluster as well. All right, guys, now on to the actual driving portion of the review. This is the part I always enjoy since it gives a good first-hand account of what it's like to drive the vehicle on a day-to-day basis. I'll just do a couple acceleration runs and just generally drive around the city I live in. And I'll actually also include a video where I don't talk at all and provide any kind of impressions as I'm driving. And if you want to see that, just check out the description below, and that'll be just a pure driving video without me talking whatsoever. So let's get right to it. Note that this does normally pop up with a warning screen that allows you to turn on your heated seats and whatever it may be. Because I just recently been in the car, I haven't gotten out, it actually didn't pop up this time around. All right, now let's do a quick acceleration run onto this road here. A good YouTube person that I like to watch is Matt Moran, SubaruWRX fan. He does a lot of neat car reviews. He gets a little excited when he turns onto these roads, but I'm not gonna get giddy like he does. But let's go ahead and turn around here and we'll see how this thing gets down the road. So you can see the truck holds its own just fine going down the road. It's quite a heavy vehicle, obviously, and powered by this 5.7 liter engine. It moves along just fine. Now this does have 395 horsepower. You get 305 out of the Pentastar, but I think this is just really the ideal engine to go with. It sounds nice, good exhaust note right from the get-go, and just overall a nice solid sound. Now, one of the things we noticed with this Ram truck is the general ride quality was just, phenomenal. I think they really did a great job with the coil springs in the rear. Most trucks obviously have leaf springs, and there's pros and cons to each. Each party has their own take on it. Personally, I think if the truck's capable of everything that they claim, I think this truck has a 12,000 pound towing capacity, somewhere in that range, which is phenomenal for a half ton, and then over 2,000 pounds or 1 ton in the bed of payload capacity. So it can do it, and it offers a superior ride. My opinion is, why not, right? So a lot of body on frame vehicles in the SUV market have that, and I think we've kind of advanced far enough that why not take advantage of the technologies if they're available. So, mind you, I'm kind of hanging the left here just because the right side of the road gets a little bumpy. So you can hear it's quite quiet in here. That's because the 5.7 liter engine, you do get active noise cancellation in the vehicle. So obviously that's something to take advantage of. If you're looking between the two engines, you're not going to get the extra noise out of the 5.7 impeding in the cabin if you don't want it to. You do have that nice subtle exhaust note, but it is very quiet in here going down the road. Everything is just very muted. There are microphones right in the headliner here that actually cancel out the sounds that it's detecting as just noise, and it does that by actually emitting the opposing sound wave out of the speakers and just fully canceling, you know, any of that sound that you may have. As you can see, it doesn't take much to drive this vehicle. I can very easily drive one-handed. You know, depending on how I'm feeling, I'll drive two. I know ideally you should have two hands on the wheel, but in roads like this, sometimes it's just nicer just to relax and just hold one wheel on the steering wheel, one hand on the steering wheel, turn on the radio, and just enjoy. There are some bumps here in this road. There's some construction up ahead that you're gonna see, and I think you'll find as we go over them, it's very quiet. You really don't notice too much, and the truck is very controlled. Obviously, you still get the truck-like ride with it being body on frame, but it's still very enjoyable. So just moving along here at 55, you can see we are getting about 24, 26 miles per gallon as a current. You can ignore the average. Some of that was set when we were towing our travel trailer. We'll do another partial acceleration run. This time I'm not gonna floor it, but I'll put it, you know, the gas down just a little bit more so you guys get a good listen. Really, that 8-speed transmission by ZF does wonders for this engine. I think it's a perfect pair. The two work well together. ZF obviously produces world-class transmissions going in vehicles far more expensive than this. And in my opinion, the 8 gears is really all you need. I think when you get into the 10, you know, like Ford has, there's just a lot of programming going in, so it doesn't have to search. I think there's just limits. I mean, what are we going to be at in 5 years? A 16-speed transmission? I mean, we just got to find a place to stop, and I think 8 is perfectly fine. You know, I'm sure there's advantages to each, but I think 8's just the sweet spot. You know, not too long ago, a 6-speed transmission was, you know, unheard of, or this just crazy, great new thing, and now we're up at, you know, 8 gears, and I think it's more than enough, so. Interesting hood here, guy. So as you can see, the engine's not short shifting. It really does a great job of going down the road. The shifts aren't harsh or anything like that. It just kind of lofts you down the road and does a great job. So overall, they really hit it out of the park with this truck, in our opinion. It's very quiet, great power, good fuel economy, very comfortable ride. The seats feel nice, and overall, there's nothing to really complain about in here. You know, you've got this huge sunroof here to look out of, and if you need to, obviously you can cover that shade, and it's comfortable. Steering wheel feels great. Everything's very quiet. There hasn't been a squeak nor a rattle since we've owned the truck. So obviously, with it being a new pickup, you don't want that or even expect that, but it's just nice that it is so quiet right from the get-go, and has just been a great truck, you know. I've heard of people having issues with brand new vehicles, and this is definitely not one that we've had issues with thus far. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments section below. I'll be happy to answer them for you. And as always, you guys make it a great day and take care.